with a go along with punctuation. So this is basically is for you to walk through with the kids. It's this whole booklet that you can walk through with the kids. It introduces the character, it introduces what the punctuation does, and then it shows the character's moves, okay? After you've introduced all those characters, each of the kids in the group gets to choose basically what character that they want to be. So if you have someone that is either really familiar with commas, or they really like, if they're a girl and they really want to be Caitlyn, comma, then they're going to say, I'm Caitlyn, comma. Doesn't matter who's who, doesn't matter if a boy wants to be Caitlyn or a girl wants to be Evan, exclamation, and all that. So,
do they need to, is each person at the table need to be a different person? Or
no.
Can they all be Caitlyn
No,
commas?
no,
Okay.
you can all be Caitlyn, commas.
Okay.
It's really open like that. So, I'm just going to walk through this packet too, just to refresh all of us on punctuation too. And kind of the way that just, you know, it's up to you, but the way I had envisioned it is you'd say comma is used when you're listing more than 2 items. The first thing on this page always is going to be an example that doesn't have any commas in there, and then in red it's going to have it with the commas in there. So you might just want to talk about that. Caitlyn grabbed her hat, hairbrush, car keys, train ticket, and watch. What's missing there? Well, Caitlyn, comma, would come in and put her commas where you need the commas. I always put a comma personally before an and when you're listening to this. That's, you know, you might have some really smart kid being like, do you have to have the comma there? No, the last comma is optional. Doesn't matter.
Isn't that the Oxford comma?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm very big on the Oxford
I
comma.
love the Oxford comma.
Yes.
Okay.
Because let's say you want to say, here are my parents, I want to thank my parents and Rand and God, right? But you can't say, I want to thank my parents and Rand and God.
Right.
Yeah.
You gotta have it. I'm very big on having
A
it.
little bit.
Cool. I love it.
And, you know, maybe you won't have a kid say that. If you have a kid that brings that, it's great. And then usually down at the bottom I've got something that's just something to, it's a danger mark. And you can have them do the motion that's like danger, or just like danger, like that. And in this case, you want to be careful where those commas go. Caitlyn grabbed her hat, hairbrush, car, keys, train, ticket, and watch. And then, really? She grabbed her car and her train? No, she grabbed her car, keys, and her train ticket. So it's the idea that you want to use an appropriate number of commas. Commas also used when you want to add a pause to a sentence. And you might have someone say, what's a pause? It's just when you're taking a breath. Before leaving, Caitlyn grabbed her hat, hairbrush, car, keys, train, ticket, and watch. Before leaving, Caitlyn grabbed her hat. So everything kind of emphasized a little bit more. And again, careful where that comma goes. You can have them, danger. Careful where the comma goes. Before leaving, Caitlyn grabbed her hat, hairbrush. It doesn't make sense there. So that's that character. The pages kind of got a little goofy, so you might have to be doing a little bit of flopping around. And then finally, a comma is used before quotes showing speech. This is a really difficult one. Usually the most difficult one is the last one in there. If you feel that your group is just totally not getting it, or they're just pushed, skip over that page. There's nothing hard and fast about any of this. So you can just be like, whatever, we're not going to do that.
And I would also say if they're really young, you can skip
Yeah.
that one. If they're, you know, K first. But
Yeah,
K,
that's right.
But that's not a hard and fast rule because some of, you know, different learning levels.
And it's really not that difficult to say, okay, whenever you're seeing these marks here, and we talk about the marks later on, we talk about quotation marks, wherever you see these, right before you're going to put a comma. And then this is a good danger one. It's easy to put too many commas in a sentence before leaving, So, think about that. And then, here we get to Caitlyn has her own kung fu move. So you bring your right hand in front of your face, you form it into a C, and you rotate your wrist while saying, wah! 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 So it's making the shape of a comma like that. So you're going to demonstrate it, and then the kids are going to repeat it like that, okay? And then you might want to say, does anybody want to be Caitlyn, comma? And hopefully there'll be a kid be like, yes! It'll be that person's job to remind us that the Caitlyn comma move is wah! Wah! So whenever you see that. So that's that character.
You gotta have fun with it.
Heck yeah.
You know, for your new
I think it's impossible to not have
really
fun.
You really can't be, you know, because these are little kids and they will love it. I love it.
Big. Evan, exclamation. Okay? Okay?
Are you mentioning today?
Exclamation mark is used to add strong feelings, excitement, or surprise to a sentence. Evan was amazed he had never seen a ninja with bear claws before. Make it boring. And then Evan was amazed he had never seen a ninja with bear claws before. So, and then your danger is don't use an exclamation mark for things that are boring or normal unless you were confused or did not know before. Anywhere from like kindergarten up through 4th grade, they love adding exclamation marks because everything is exciting. You want to have a story that shouts all the time. It's really annoying to read. So you'd want to tell them that like Bananas are yellow. No, that's not exciting unless you've never seen a banana before. Today is Monday. And that's only exciting if you came to school in your pajamas thinking it was Saturday. You know? So you got that one. An exclamation mark is also used when you want words to shout. So as Evan ran, he shouted, "You'll never catch me, ninja." As Evan ran, he shouted, "You'll never catch me, ninja." Got to be loud about that. And then don't use exclamation marks in every sentence. Again, danger. Use them when you want to make one sentence really exciting. And then you can read that one there. So,
use them all the time.
and you know, the pace that I'm going is quicker, but it doesn't have to be a whole lot slower than this. You can go through this because they're not going to absorb everything that you're doing. This is for you to, and this is for you to look back on. Evan has his own kung fu move, of course. Left horn horizontal. Okay? I got it. You rotate this one up and go, hi!
Hi!
And then, yeah!
Yeah!
Oh, I love it.
Hi, yeah! So you're making the mark of the exclamation mark like that, okay? Should look like this. So step one, step two, hi, yeah! Like that, okay? Who wants to be Evan exclamation? So you got that, okay? Quibbly quotation.
Never mind.
Well, this is the reason I could never publish it, is the characters I didn't draw or anything like that. The characters I took off from the wonderful internet. The backgrounds and everything like this I made, but alright, so quotation marks show that someone is talking. For example, Quibbly whispered, "I will never tell you my kung fu secrets." No, it's Quibbly whispered, "I will never tell you my kung fu secrets." I won't give you that motion yet. Don't do that yet. This is an important one. If you open a quotation, make sure you close it too. So if you have a quotation mark on the one side, you've got to have one on the other side too. And you can show that out there. Quotation marks are the actual words said by the person in the story. I will tell you my secrets, Quibbly whispered, if you pay me $1 million. The basic idea of that is that it's okay to break up your quotation marks if there's something in here. So I will tell you my secrets, Quibbly whispered, and then you open it up and then you close it again. Again, this is going to be one that's difficult for anybody that's under probably like 8 or 9 years old. That's when we start introducing it 3rd grade, 4th grade. So quotation marks can be used to show someone's nickname. This is just an aside here. If you are Crazy Ninja Dog and that's your nickname, then you'd always be in quotations like that. And then Quibbly quotations move. With your left hand, you make an eagle claw, like that. And go, she!
She!
And then you keep your left hand in the claw until the quotation ends, and then you do the same motion with your right hand and say, she!
She!
So Quibbly said, she! You are doing great! She! So you've got that open motion and that closed one, so it's kind of reminding them that you've got to open it and you've got to close it off too. Okay? And you're going to always refer back to this, of course, too. So, punctuation mark is probably the easiest one and the one they're most familiar with. And it's a period. A period is used to show that the reader needs to stop and rest for a moment. And you might have someone say, how's it different from a comma? You're pausing, but you're pausing for just slightly more. And you can say that to them. You're going to stop for just a little bit more than you would with a comma. And then a question mark is used after a question. I think that Kung Fu warriors are amazing. Sometimes I wonder, how do they know their secrets? No, it's I think that Kung Fu warriors are amazing. Sometimes I wonder, how do they know their secrets? And you've got that rising intonation that you want to overemphasize too, that I think, where are their secrets? If a period or question mark ends a sentence, an uppercase letter will always start the next sentence. This is good. You can tell them like a trick. They love it when you divert from like this kind of script too and say, let me tell you a trick here too, that if you ever see an uppercase letter, you might want to put a period right before that. Because that's when they're like looking through text, when they're editing, when they're back at school, and they come up to an uppercase letter, we want to get them to shift and think to right before that, you want to put like a period most of the time, unless it's a name. Punctuation mark has 2 Kung Fu moves, the period and the question mark. The period is very easy. Ha! 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 And then the question mark, top secret on this one here, okay? This one, they will probably love the fact that it's top secret. You've got to tell them that they can't tell anybody this move. This is punctuation mark's special move. You're curving your arm up. Now I gotta read what it was actually. You're curving your arm up going wah, ha, ha. Yeah. Make sure that they know that that is very secret, confidential, top secret. Wah, ha, ha. All right. And then our last character is a group of characters. This is, if we had more than however many kids in the group. This is an apostrophe in the contraction twins. An apostrophe mark shows that something belongs to someone. So those are Anne's shoes. No, those are Anne apostrophe shoes, said Miko. If the thing belongs to more than one person, you can jump over that if it's too difficult. It's just about putting the apostrophe at the end if it's cows, the cow's milk, or the people's hat. That would be a good one, but things like that. I would really like you to do this. This danger is important. Never use an apostrophe to make a word plural. We see that all the way through 4th grade. Anne grabbed her shoes and ran after the twins. They love putting the apostrophe mark in there to make something plural. And just tell them never, 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 never do that. Contractions take 2 words and form 1 word using an apostrophe mark. This is just talking about cannot, goes into can't. And who is goes into whose. It is becomes its. Make sure the apostrophe is in the right place. When 2 words get smushed together, the apostrophe replaces the letters that were smushed. A lot of kids do understand that the apostrophe goes where you're taking out a letter. So if you've got can't and it's cannot, you put, well, can't, you take out a lot more letters, but can't, it's cannot, and you're taking out that O in the not. Make sense? Okay. And then an apostrophe and the contraction twins have their own kung fu move. So your left hand, you're going to grab the air and shout, G!
G.
G!
G.
Then you bring them both together like you're smashing them together, and they go right up into this, and you go, yeah! So
Yeah.
G, G,
G. Yeah.
yeah. So it's the idea of taking 2 words, smashing them, and then hitting
Oh, I
apostrophe at the
love
top like that. G, G, yeah! Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so at that part then, once you've gone through all those characters, it's up to you if you want to ask if they've got questions. But then you've got 2 things that you can kind of have them work on. Every group has 4 different pages from a story, and this was taken from a kind of a kung fu themed book called Mouse, which is from the 5 Ancestors. This is a series that really appeals to 2nd through really like 6th graders. And some of it might be difficult for some of the younger kids, so you might want to be pairing them up with somebody, working with an older kid with a younger kid. You might want to have you working with the youngest ones. But what I've done is there's pages that are copied and the punctuation has been removed. By and large, there's some punctuation that's still in there if it was something that was just kind of funky and they would never think to look for it. But by and large, the punctuation's been removed. So you can say that you found these secret scrolls, but unfortunately the punctuation's fallen off. And down below here, you've got the number of things that would be in here. So there's supposed to be 6 commas in here. It doesn't matter where they add these. Your job is really just to direct them, but there's no right answer necessarily for this. The commas can go a lot of places. If you really see them kind of erring, the commas are going at the end of the sentence and there's an uppercase letter right after that, you can remind them that, hey, remember when we had an uppercase letter, you'd want to put a period before that. Or do you need that exclamation mark in there? Because is that really an exciting part of that? Would this be a question? So you can kind of guide them through that, but it's a fun, just sort of thing. And then what you do is you choose one of them, and you probably want to choose the shortest one that you as the mentor are going to read out loud. And when it gets to a point when there's some punctuation that someone has added, and it can be just one kid, so it doesn't have to be every single kid that you're doing. So let's say we punctuated this one off here. You're going to say early the next morning, period, or early the next morning, comma, and then the kids are going to go, wah, and make the sign of that. And then you keep reading, and so you're going to have to be very aware that when you get to that, you announce it out there, quotation, they're going to make the symbol, and it's going to be really rough to start with because there's a lot to remember and say, wait, what do I do? But it should pick up and should get a little bit quicker. It's to have fun. You know, the whole idea is not to get it perfect today by any means to teach them. It's just to link it in their heads that it's something fun and that it's got a symbol associated with it and kind of help that stick. So that is that. The very last thing, and this is only if you have time, you can just send it home with this, is that we've got a anime kind of manga sort of story that I've removed the thought bubbles from.